substance here is going to be a brief slideshow on the subject of choice architecture. Choice architecture was really developed as a notion by Richard Thaler, a behavioral economist. He was looking at the general idea of what he called libertarian paternalism, which may seem like a contradiction in terms, but in truth is a way of saying, okay, don't take choices away from people, but encourage them to make better choices. So we're going to look at this general notion of how to define choice architecture, the idea that we want to influence the choices people make, but we don't necessarily want to take choices away from them. So the first thing, here's a definition of choice architecture. It's designing the context in which people make decisions to encourage better choices. And in general, it's okay. The way you present choices to people matters. Here are some general principles of good choice architecture. First idea is that of defaults. Second, expecting error, giving feedback, understanding how things are mapped, and the structure of complex choices. And also giving people incentives, which may sometimes be odd. But let's take a look at a couple of these things. Organ donations vary greatly depending on whether or not a country or a state decides to make the default to donate or the default to not donate. And the two countries depicted here, and these are real European countries, although I forget which is which. One country has the default to donate, and the other has no default. You have to pick. And you can see that the country with the default, that is, most people don't uncheck the box. And that's the reason you see emails the way you see them for, do you want to sign up for my email newsletter? It may be why your email box is filled up with newsletters that you don't really read or want. I know it's true for mine. But the default matters. The next issue is expecting errors. Okay, particularly if you have a lot of tourists who come from places who drive on different sides of the road, you might want to convince people to look a different direction before they cross the street, if you want to keep them from being run over. And so, since most people, as they're crossing the street, are looking down, these signs probably improve that circumstance. The second thing, of course, is to give people feedback so they make better decisions, and you see things like this. Critical batteries. I know it gives you time, it gives you percentages, it gives you other things, and you've all seen these kinds of feedback, or you want to give yourself feedback. You can choose to, with giving yourself notifications for email and things like that. So some of these signs are going to cause me to go ahead and recharge my phone, just as an example. The next thing is to understand how people map things, i.e. the way they lay them out in their minds. And there are some simple things, like if you want school kids to eat more fruit instead of more cake, put the fruit first in line. They'll eat more fruit. Then put the cake. But record the way people behave. Evaluate the way they behave. Compare one way of structuring the choice to another, mapping the choice to another, compare the alternatives, compare the prices. And this is, we'll see more versions of this. A lot of the tools of choice architecture are, after all, going to be in the things that we talk about in the later videos for this week. Structure complex decisions. That is, when people have lots of choices and other things like that, you can do things like chunk them. If they're trying to decide on retirement plans, you can give them, pick one from each of these 5 choices and give them 5 choices in each one, and they'll do better with 5 and 5 than they do with 25 unstructured. And finally, incentives. And I actually have a picture like this one myself that I took in Mannheim, Germany. This is a fake fly. And what they find is that fake flies in urinals reduce the splash effect, and so the restrooms stay cleaner. At any rate, that is a brief version of what you might expect in terms of the concept of choice architecture. That is, as a seller, what you want to do is structure choices in a way that influence people to choose the way you would like for them to choose, probably to buy from you.